So as you may have seen on social media, Bushiroad has put up their medium-term management plan goals for 2027. And within there was a few bombshells that they revealed, one of which is that turns out they're launching yet another new TCG next year in 2024. But the other thing they talked about is that they're putting in a lot more strength into Vanguard next year, a lot more effort into Vanguard, which has left a lot of us wondering, what does this mean? And especially accompanied with the graph that they showed, some of us have some kind of confusing conclusions to draw. So I think for this video, let's take a look at this medium-term plan. I used some machine translation just to make it easy to look at together on video. And we have chat here with us as well. Say hello, chat, to the YouTube kids. And this was just published yesterday at the time of recording. So there's quite a lot to unpack. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below about what you think, because my initial reaction was definitely a little bit negative. And for context, I am just coming from a special place. I'm coming from a special place called the Pokemon World Championships 2023 in Yokohama, Japan. And I was able to witness arguably the best TCG, not only TCG, but the best TCG, let's say, centered event of my life. It was genuinely the most beautiful thing, and of course only possible because Pokemon is so huge and the biggest brand in the world. But after seeing how amazing it is and like getting to meet the broadcast producer and like, you know, thank him for his efforts, it definitely put me in the frustrated position of like, wow, Vanguard will never achieve this because Bushiroad will never direct their resources to allow Vanguard to be this good, because they are a company that wants to have a bajillion IPs that all succeed, and they don't want to just focus on one the way that the Pokemon company does. And I understand, that's just, you know, the companies work in different ways, but that's just my like why I looked at this in a very much more critical perspective, is because I was coming out of the Pokemon worlds, and that will definitely still be seen as we talk about things in this chart. So they have, this is the machine translated one that they posted up, and so they talk about a lot of the environments that surround their company. So basically Japanese anime has exploded. So here they talk about how the market for anime has grown insanely. This is the Japanese market that you see here. This is the overseas market. So you can see it's grown a lot in 2021. And then the market size for anime distribution, so like, you know, anime distribution sites and like all of these like Crunchyroll and stuff like that, has exploded as well. So you can see here, 2020 to 2021, the yellow bar is anime, the blue bar is live entertainment, and the green one is video packaged entertainment. So not sure how they specifically phrase these. Is this like YouTube? Is this like concerts, live stuff? But anyway, anime looking good. It's making a lot of money. It's like 1.5 thousand 100 millions. 1.5 thousand million yen? But 1.5 thousand... Never mind, forget about it. Japanese counting system is really weird, by the way. Then the market size of TCGs has expanded a lot in both Japan and North America. You can see here, this is the Japanese expansion from 2018 to 2022, so it's more than doubled. And then the overseas is basically tripled, almost tripled in America. Sales of Bushiroad TCGs is also tripled in Japan. So of course, big part of this is Vice. And in America, it's also more than tripled, which is also pretty impressive. So you can see here as well, between 2020 and 2023, in these years that TCGs have been booming, clearly it's not just one boom, it's been a continuous increase, right? They talk about the mobile game market size, which has declined in 2022 for the first time, which explains why a lot of these, you know, mobile games have been shutting down recently, especially English versions of mobile games. So, you know, Princess Connect, Vanguard Zero, Dragalia Lost, you know, the mobile game market has been decreasing, and like the top share hasn't really changed, so launching new games into this stratosphere has been pretty risky. They talk about pro wrestling, I'm going to skip that part a little bit, but this is their kind of philosophy of like their company, their mission and strategy, right? They want to be an IP developer, and their mission is to create entertainment for the new age, develop our business under the IP developer strategy. They want to have diversified businesses within the group, create new IPs, sustainably manage existing IPs, and, you know, basically just have new IPs coming out all the time. Which is like, you know, I'm sure from their perspective it's great, you know, to have a lot of strong IPs. And I think it's a really cool approach as a company. It's just that once you have these franchised fans of your existing IPs getting a little bit unsatisfied, that's when they obviously point at this, right? Because they look at this and they go, what the hell? Why are you not, you know, putting in more effort into your old IPs like the way that the other companies do? But that's just their approach. They don't want to, right? So this 4-year management plan is basically they want to, you know, the environment has changed a lot recently. So the, you know, TCGs grew beyond their expectations, but they withdrew. Like they launched a gym and they just killed it immediately because it wasn't profitable enough. App games are struggling, so they're restructuring how they approach app games, you know, so that's why Vanguard Zero died. And so this is their goals for 2027. So strengthen TCG business, aiming to become the world's #1 TCG company. Whoa. And prioritize as their top priority area. So it's like, I think it's easy to say, become the world's #1 TCG company, because they can then go like, oh, Konami? That's not a TCG company, they're a pachinko company. Oh, the Pokemon company? That's not a TCG company, that's a multimedia mix company, which Bushiroad also describes themselves as, by the way. And, you know, I feel like you can, like, if you, whether you include Pokemon in this, it makes this statement go from sounding semi-realistic to sounding like a joke. Because if you think you'll ever take over the Pokemon company as a company, that is big dreams, baby. That's some big dreams. Like, I think they are trying to maybe like alter the definition of a TCG company and make it so that neither Bandai nor Konami nor Pokemon can be defined as a TCG company. So I think it would really help them. Like if I was in a press release and I was a member of press, the first thing I would ask them is, how do you define a TCG company? What give us examples of other TCG companies you're trying to surpass, please. So like even Bushiroad doesn't describe themselves as a TCG company. They describe themselves as a media mix company. So it's like, I would like a bit more. I feel like this sounds cool, but you know, it feels very easy to like go push the goalpost or whatever. Global expansion, this one's pretty important. So starting with TCG and wrestling, they want to expand each business to the world and cultivate global customers. But this I have a lot of criticisms for. Why is World separated? Why is your World Championship not English and Japanese versions together? And Korean for that matter too. Why does Bushinavi in Japan only accept Japanese phone numbers when the Bandai TCG app allows you to use your foreign account in Japan? Why? Global expansion, really? Is that part of your global expansion strategy? To just throw it around as like a cool word, but not actually do things that answer to what the word requires you to do? I wonder. That's where I'm left wondering. But we'll see. You know, this is all for the next few years. Maybe they're willing to change. Diversified contact points. This is like how people get to find out about Bushiroad IPs and their own organizational structure. We're not going to talk about that. This is where we really talk about strengthen TCG business. So this is the one that was floating around Twitter, and I commented on a lot as well, because this is 2023 and this is 2027. This is how they see their games growing, right? So they say here before 2023, you had the mobile game heyday and TCGs were somewhat stagnant, like in pre-2020, I guess. 2020 is like Japanese anime became super popular due to COVID and overseas demand increased. And then after COVID, basically the TCG boom started to happen, right? So they do say this graph is an image of the scale of each TCG and does not represent actual future or future sales trends, but it shows that this is the current state in 2023, right? So their new 2024 TCG has not come out yet. 2024 starts around here, I'm assuming. This is Shadowverse Evolve, which of course grew a lot in this last year. And it looks like they plan for quite a bit of growth here as well. You can see that this green portion does increase by a bit. The yellow portion is Vanguard. And now it's interesting. You can see a dip here. I wonder which year this is. 2020, perhaps? 2019, perhaps? V-Series, perhaps? I don't know. But you can see, you know, while a lot of this increase is like, you know, it looks like it's increasing a lot, but it's actually Vice that's increasing. And it looks like Vanguard's increasing. But it's a little bit, right? But so, you know, Vanguard's still kind of recovering from the effects of V, you can kind of see here. But you can see here we have this. So somebody counted it. This is the size of 20 pixels, and this is the size of 41 pixels. So the Vanguard segment does increase by quite a bit. It more or less doubles. It's just that when you compare it to the Vice segment, Vice is super massive, and it feels like Vanguard's like a half of it, or not even half of it, but somewhere along those lines. So it does look like Vanguard will get more popular, and they are putting in effort to make it more popular, which is good. That's reassuring to know. But I also have this criticism of like, okay, if you see that Vice is this popular, why don't they put in more effort to make it even bigger? Or like, you know, maybe have even more kind of high hopes for your IP to do even better if you're putting in this much effort, right? Because it looks like it doesn't look like it increases that much on first impression, but in reality, if you count the pixels, it's like double, right? But again, this could mean that we shouldn't be reading into it, and it's just like the scale of each TCG. But here's what it actually says about it, right? So in recent years, Vice has grown significantly in Japan and overseas, and they launched Shadowverse Evolve in April last year, and this year they launched the English version. And they say there are almost no companies that have succeeded in multiple global deployments of TCG, and the global deployment of our TCG is going smoothly. From now on, we'll put more effort into our original IP, Cardfight Vanguard. And in addition, we plan to announce a new TCG in January 2024. So this is really nice to hear that they'll put in more effort into Vanguard, but I wonder what this really means. I wonder what this effort is. They're launching the Judge program, they're doing these new collabs. Does this mean a new console game? Does this mean a Master Duel? Does this mean, you know, actually expanding Vanguard into areas where it's not played, like Latin America? What does this imply, right? And then, you know, you see that and then they say we plan to announce a new TCG. It's like, so are you gonna be expanding the company? Are you hiring more people so that the Vanguard staff don't get cannibalized? Because Bushiroad's not, you know, Bushiroad's a big company, but it's not that big. You can only have this many IPs before your staff are being cannibalized by each other to work on things and not work on other things. And when you have a new project, the expectation is like, well, is this the Rebirth for You staff? Rebirth for You is part of these other TCGs. Look at this freaking barely exists. And we'll see later down the line, it seems like Rebirth for You might be going bye-bye with how things are. So maybe they're going to get restructured into this. And they have some high hopes, right? Bushiroad has flopped on TCGs quite a bit. Next year, 2024, is the 10-year anniversary of BuddyFight. Could it be the spiritual successor of BuddyFight? Who knows? But yeah, they talk about global expansion through their like Caravan demo, Bushinavi, but I'm like, I think Bushinavi is not a good example because they didn't manage to, you know, make it a truly global app like the Bandai one. Then like pro wrestling, events, touring. This is their target of sales, so it's like a lot of numbers about like they're trying to basically double their numbers / triple their numbers and their income within the next few years, and more specific numbers here as well. So this is their TCG unit, aiming to be world's #1 TCG company. So they want to aim for top 3 domestic market share. So this doesn't mean that one single game is going to enter the top 3. It means that all of Bushiroad's games combined are going to be part of the top 3 domestic market share compared to other companies. So like Pokemon just has Pokemon. Bandai does have a lot actually to compete with. So maybe they imagine that it'll be like Pokemon, Bandai, Bushiroad is probably what they see. And they're going to surpass Yu-Gi-Oh! Alone with all of their card games combined, which is like, sure, why not? And then they want to get top 4 global market share and eventually #1 in the world. It's like, okay, from top 4 to #1, there's a big gap to close here, buddy. Strengthen TCG development capabilities. Okay, so I guess more hires. Further strengthen ties with TCG shops. Very good, we like that. So for Vice, they want to further strengthen its position as an IP platform, establish the Vice brand worldwide. Shadowverse Evolve, they've succeeded in launching the English version worldwide. And for Vanguard, aiming for further expansion. Does that mean new languages? Does that mean Master Duel? What does that mean? Like, will you fully leverage the potential of Vanguard? Which I've been begging for years, because a lot of people are involved in Vanguard and all the content creators are dependent on Vanguard's growth for their own growth. So please, put in the effort. We want to see it. And then they're planning to make new TCGs, new stuff for returning players, expand the base of TCG users. And so they're aiming to double their amount of sales for TCGs in the next 4 years, which is pretty impressive. So I think it'll be interesting. Will they finally start streaming regionals? Who knows? Seeing these number talks, doesn't look like they want to invest in that. Global strategy, worldwide expansion with multilingual versions. So it sounds like they will launch more language versions, which is nice. Holding real competitions and events in countries around the world. Okay, cool. So this is for mobile games. So they want to optimize titles in operation, get rid of unprofitable ones, and you know, those with no prospect of surplus will withdraw, pull them out of the market. Goodbye. And of course, they want to develop mainly our own IP titles that aim to maximize group profits. So if we look back, I have another different graph here. So this is from a different PDF file, which shows the ranking of sales for Bushiroad IPs. So everything that is red here is a Bushiroad IP. So Vanguard, this is the scale is like how long it's been around. So Vi's been around for 16 years, Vanguard's been around for 13. So Vanguard, Shin Nihon Pro Wrestling, Bang Dream, Review Starlight, Argonavis, D4DJ, and Stardom are all Bushiroad originals. And here they show that Vi Schwartz is the #1 best-selling IP they have, which recently broke, what is it, 10 billion yen in sales this year. And then the rest, like, after that is Shin Nihon Pro Wrestling, Shadowverse Evolve, Vanguard, and Bang Dream. They've each earned more than 4 billion yen this year. So basically, Vanguard's doing better than Bang Dream, which is kind of surprising. But Shadowverse Evolve, unsurprisingly, is doing better than Vanguard. And Pro Wrestling is doing better than both, which is pretty cool. But, so all the red ones are original IPs. So when we look at this, and they say they're making more mobile games for their own IP titles, you can imagine it's going to be related to those. And then console games. Expansion of multi-platform and global sales. Mid-range titles. So stuff that generates overseas sales of around 100 million yen. So like smaller things like Deer Days. Secure stable earnings by building a portfolio. So they want to make multi-platform development and publishing of overseas titles. So wonder what this was going to imply. And they talk a lot about like game stuff and increasing real events. So this is the interesting part for Vanguard, I'd say. What does the star 3 mean? Star 3 means this, 44 billion or more. Star 2 means 10 billion or more. So this is increasing real events centering on TCG and appealing to the whole world. So TCGs. English version of Vanguard will expand its base by developing a media mix of TCG, anime, and console games. So I'm like, does this mean we're getting an actual like Master Duel game? Because I'm not sure if I should read this as like TCG games, anime games, and console games. Or if this is like, we're gonna have console games like Deer Days, we're gonna have the anime, and we're gonna have the TCG. So, console games plural? Like, I wonder. I really wonder what this means. Don't forget, this is a machine translation. Japanese doesn't really have singular and plural tenses, so take it with a grain of salt. So, this one gives a lot of hope. It's interesting. English Vice will release world famous titles. Crazy. And then, you know, they talk about all the events they're going to be doing. Talk about BCS a little bit as well. So it's like kind of cool. And then like Bang Dream, Love Live, etc. So global strategies to localize CGs and games developed in Japan and spread them all over the world and host and exhibit real events in countries around the world. So I guess maybe we're going to have more localization for Vanguard. That's great. So, and I think like it's interesting reading through this. And I guess when we scroll back up all the way to the Vanguard thing, it's like Vanguard is growing. It's just that I've always had this criticism that I feel like Bushiroad doesn't put enough effort into Vanguard to like, I feel like Vanguard's grown a lot. And actually, like, you know, there's numbers I can show you. So I'll pull this up in editing, but there's been numbers flowing around about the growth of event participation from BSF to BCS 22, and then BCS to BSF from 22 to 23, and then BSF 22 to BSF 23. So Springfest last year to BCS last year, the growth of the D format was 81%, V premium was 92%, and premium was 112%. So actually decrease, right? But then from BCS 22 to, so BCS of last year to Springfest of this year, the standard format, the D format, saw an increase of 249% of players. V premium saw 106 increase, and premium saw 134% increase. So overall, a huge increase in D format players. Standard itself is growing very fast. And so the increase from year to year of Springfest last year to Springfest this year is D era increased by 203%. more than double, right? V Premium decreased a little bit by 98%, and Premium increased by 151%. So the TLDR is that D has grown a lot, huge expansion, V has shrunk, and Premium has a steady growth. So for all three Vanguard formats in English, it's good news, right? They're all growing in tournament participation. So overall, it feels like Vanguard's grown a lot in interest, but Bushiroad hasn't leveraged. They haven't capitalized on it. And I feel like they haven't really, it's like the game itself is fun, therefore it's been growing, but Bushiroad hasn't actually capitalized on that growth. And that's where I feel like Bushiroad needs to be doing better at. So if their next year's plans that will impact the sales and whatever, like this much, actually do have such big implications that they will continue to grow the game, then I'm very excited about it. That means that as a Vanguard content creator, I can continue doing this. I don't have to worry about, you know, switching to other games. You know, I want to do other game stuff because I play other games and I want to, you know, just show how amazing the TCG genre is and how incredible trading card games are as a communication tool. But I'm always going to be a Vanguard guy and I want the game to succeed, and like my dream is for Vanguard to become #1. I think that's impossible now with how big Pokemon is, but if it can be as big as Yu-Gi-Oh, if it can be as big as Magic, I'm just as happy, you know? Nothing will ever take over Pokemon now. Yu-Gi-Oh nor Magic can ever take over Pokemon. It is simply too big. Nothing can stand up to Pokemon. But if Vanguard can go up and stand at the top together with the others again, like it used to, and I feel like when Vanguard was introduced, it was introduced with that intent in mind, then I'll be very happy. But I'm definitely looking at what they announced next year cautiously. That new TCG, I'm looking at cautiously. I kind of give up on the hope that Bushiroad will ever try to make Vanguard as amazing as, you know, Pokemon is, or even Yu-Gi-Oh is, because those companies only have that card game and they focus on it. Whereas for Bushiroad, they want to develop as many IPs as possible, and they will continue to do that. That's just how this company functions, and I cannot force my own expectations on them because that's just not how this works, and that's just what it is, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you think about this. I think it's a lot to unpack, and I took my time going through it, so I hope this video hasn't bored you in this time that we've gone over it. Let me know your thoughts about what you think about what are they going to do? What do you expect Bushiroad to do to make Vanguard grow double, right? Outside of all this localization stuff. Like maybe it is just localization that they're announcing that's going to make it grow, but I'm really curious. And we'll see how far Bushiroad can go with their business model in growing Vanguard. And, you know, I definitely want to continue growing. You know, I want to continue growing as a content creator, obviously with Vanguard, but also I want to, you know, just like how Bushiroad wants to grow all of their IPs and grow as a company, I also want to grow as a content creator beyond Vanguard too. You know, it was really nice to meet Pokemon legends at Pokemon World Championship and their reaction to seeing me being like, oh, you're that Vanguard guy, I see you on Twitter all the time. And it's like, wow, like that's incredible. Like that's such an honor. It's very humbling to hear that. But I feel like at the same time, you know, there are people like the Professor who are just known for TCGs in general. And I feel like the long-term goal really is to get to that at some point. And my goal really is to just promote card games as a communication tool that unites people from different cultures and gives them something shared, something common in between them. And I hope that Vanguard answers that. They are pushing this global approach, and I hope that they understand what that entails. And right now, when I look at card games that really promote, you know, intercultural interaction, Pokemon is the one. And I felt being at Pokemon Worlds, I felt like, wow, this is like the land of dreams. This felt like the community that I dream of Vanguard to become one day, where people are actually, you know, making friends across borders despite the fact they don't speak the same language or play the same version of the game. And I really hope that Vanguard goes towards that. I think that's where a lot of my frustrations come from. And I hope that Bushiroad's new approach is leveraging on that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What are you expecting of the game? What do you think Bushiroad's going to be doing? And what languages do you hope Vanguard gets put into next year, if that's what they're really doing? So thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And if you want to get access to some bonus content, consider becoming a YouTube channel member. But otherwise, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.